Today, we're doing something a little bit different on the channel, and that is an interview, and it is with one of the strongest, most resilient, smart, funny, beautiful people, talented, that I have ever had the absolute pleasure of coming across on the internet since I started the channel. So I'm super excited for it. It is a little bit on the long side, but it is well worth it because her story will absolutely 100% resonate with so many people, and how she was able to overcome so many negative things in her life and get to a place of happiness and of understanding herself and using that and her voice as a way to help other people. I find absolutely amazing. So thank you so much for joining me. Just going to give a little bit of a trigger warning because we are talking about some deeper subjects when it comes to self-harm and ending one's life. So just wanted to put that out there. Those subjects do come up. Grab your Kleenex box, light your candle, because there are some sections in here that do get a bit emotional, but the overwhelming positivity that she exudes is infectious in a way. So I really vibe with her, and it was just a really great interview. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and if you want to see more interviews like this, then please let me know down in the comments. Also, this video is most likely going to get demonetized, so please drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, help it do better, help the channel grow, all that good stuff. With all of that being said, let's do this. It's also like midnight, so I'm kind of tired, so if my intro was scuffed, now at least you know why. Hello and welcome back to the JW Thoughts channel. My name is Wally, and today we are having another interview. Now, this interview is a little bit unique because sometimes I have noticed some of the content around exjws on YouTube is a little bit more sad, which everything has its place, of course, but someone that wanted to be interviewed was a very positive person that I absolutely vibe with, and we kind of connected on the idea of, yes, we went through horrible things within the Watchtower paradigm, but, and that conjunction is really important because I think as XJWs, we do need to celebrate the stories of people that have successfully gone through horrible, ridiculous things and moved on and become these wonderful, beautiful people. So celebrating their stories is very important to me, and I wanted to bring her on. So welcome to the JW Thoughts team family, Mariah.
Hi.
So, yeah, everyone wants to know, obviously, what's your story or anything, but I guess we'll just ask it like this. How was it for you emotionally, being a Jehovah's Witness? Like, how did that affect your family dynamic, or, you know, how you interacted with schoolmates, you know, whatever it might be?
Growing up, honestly, it was really bad. Like I was really, I was
Hey,
like,
our
it's gonna be
positivity out the
positive.
window after 7 seconds.
I was so stressed out all the time
Hmm.
because it was just me and my mom and my brother that went to meetings when I was younger, and my dad didn't, but my mom and my dad are still together. And I, like in elementary school, I would be so just constantly anxious that I would just puke, like in school randomly, like just, I would just puke all the time.
Really?
And
That is wild.
yeah, like it was, and I didn't, it's so weird, like now being out and looking back, like realizing what the cause of my stress was.
Hmm.
Um, and then by the time I got to middle school, like I honestly really hated myself. Like
Wow.
yeah, like I really did. I never felt like I was a good Jehovah's Witness. Like I always felt like I was just like kind of right there, like almost being good,
Hmm.
but I just never could quite be satisfactory.
Was it because there's always this narrative of you need to have these proper thoughts and then you were thinking something different? Or was it like an action thing? Like you wanted to do things, but witnesses said it wasn't okay?
I feel like it was both for
Mm-hmm.
sure. And it's not even like I thought anything necessarily bad. It was just normal, like kid thoughts and just wanting to do stuff like wanting to be in Girl Scouts and wanting to go to sleepovers and like just the worst stuff anyone could want to do. And I just remember being like, no, you can't.
Wait, so that was your mom saying like, no, you can't go to sleepovers with kids
You,
at school?
yeah. And then I feel like in the congregation, because by the time I was in middle school, it's just me and my mom going. And I feel
Mm-hmm.
like everyone looked at us like, look at them, like still trudging along and coming to the meetings. And
Yeah, what was that like? Because I know I think I've even talked about this in previous videos, but one of the most difficult positions, especially like while I was a witness, was the single mom going with her kids
yeah,
because she got no love from anyone, and everyone was always like, you need to get your act together. Why didn't you marry a better husband? You know, and like they always blamed them, and I always just felt bad for the single moms. But what was that like for the being the child of the single mom, I suppose?
there was always this pressure of like, you need to get your dad back to the hall and you need to get your brother back to the hall. And I felt like like some of the older women in their like late 20s, early 30s tried to like take me under their wing and almost be like another parent figure, which felt cool at the time. But then
Mm-hmm.
I look back and they were so toxic and
Mm.
controlling and like micromanaging. And my mom trusted them, so she doesn't even know like half the shit that they put me through psychologically, like as we were hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think middle school started to get really hard because I feel like everyone in the congregation viewed us as like the project family, kind of like to keep us there and to like uplift us and stuff. And I very much like once all like the hormones started flowing, it was like I want a boyfriend. I want a man who's gonna fix me because I'm obviously a broken, lost soul, like the whole thing. But I
Talk about
wasn't.
some JW mindsets right there. I need to find a man to fix me.
But it sucked because like there was not a lot of kids in the congregation, so there
Yeah.
was no cute boys. And then at
Wait,
school,
hold
like
on, guys. Just so you know, there were boys. There were just no cute boys.
there was like these two boys that came when I was in high school with this family, and they were people, but that's just like there was like no vibe even as a friendship there. So it's just like, but then in school, like I was not cool at all. Like I was very much like nerdy, quiet, super insecure, like armpit sweat down to here, like just a mess. So like no one had a crush on me there either. So I was just sad. Like I was so sad and like I really genuinely hated myself. Like I was so miserable. And
Hmm.
I know that maybe sounds dramatic, but it was just so hard to just try to be me every day because I didn't know like what direction I was supposed to go in.
I mean, that's pretty reasonable because like that's a normal teenage thing, right? Where you go through this moment where you're just like, I fucking hate myself and I'm ugly and no one likes me and blah 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 blah
Yes.
blah. But on top of that, you have this elevated standard of needing to be a Jehovah's Witness with all of the purity involved with that, and you can't have any of these intrusive thoughts, and you're ugly and disgusting if you want a boyfriend and things like that. So
Hmm.
it's like an extra layer of ripping away someone's self-confidence and then making them like, well, I guess I'll sit in the corner and read a book and be sad for the rest of my life.
Yes. And like during early middle school too, my brother started to have a lot of really bad mental health issues, and he got diagnosed with bipolar, and so that was really stressful. Like a lot of that time is really spotty for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was in and out of like the psych ward and like treatment centers, and like our house was just always really tense and stressful. And then it was like the added layer of like my mom still trying to go to the meetings with me and my dad being really like, just leave me here, just leave me alone at home, like very like boohoo me in the corner. And it was just really stressful.
Yeah. So your brother didn't take to the Jehovah's Witness sort of thing at all?
No, I think he stopped going when he was in like seventh grade, and he
Okay.
was 3 years older than me.
Okay.
And I don't know why my parents let him quit going so easily because I tried to stop going to meetings so many times. And my mom's
Hmm.
like, no, you have to do this.
Well, that's why, because you had someone before you, and they're like, well, the Watchtower tells us that this is bad, so we need to correct our
Yeah,
mistake. So, yeah.
yeah. And then, so when all that started happening, our house was just chaos. And then I started to have my own mental health issues, and my parents kind of acted almost like really like we have enough going on. So
That's
then
disgusting.
yeah, so then I kind of started to cope with that. I started self-harming and I started cutting myself.
Mm.
And that had like a grip on me for like the next 8 years. And that was how I coped with like pretty much everything. And like anytime I like sinned or disappointed someone, it was like I punished myself.
Yeah. I mean, I did the exact same thing through those awkward teenage years. I mean, for me, it was like,
Yes.
I need to feel something because I don't feel anything ever. And I don't feel love from my parents, and I only feel pressure. And so it was like a weird coping mechanism. But yeah, I totally
Hmm.
feel you when it comes to that.
And it's like the control, like I need to be in control of something and like have
Hmm.
control over something.
Yeah. Super
And
sad.
yeah, it's like it's weird to talk about now because it feels so far behind me now.
I
Because
know.
it's been like a good solid 10 years since I mean, I still have thoughts a lot,
Hmm.
but now I'm like medicated and have a therapist and have like a good support system. So
PSA to all parents out there: take your kids to therapy.
yes.
Get
Uh,
professionals involved, because your teenager at home cutting themselves is a very bad thing, and
yes.
you can't fix that with the Bible. It
Well, and I remember
won't
I
work.
remember when my mom found out and she was like mad.
Yes, that was the same with me.
Yeah, like
Hmm.
mad, like not like, oh my God, like why are you doing this to yourself? It was like, why are you doing this to us? Like that was,
Exactly.
yes, that's
It's
horrible.
Yeah, and it was. I would say, at least for me, I'm not trying to make this interview about me, but
Yeah.
just
No, you can.
connecting.
Yeah.
That was the moment where I realized like I had to take control of like sort of my own mental and my own life, because like no one is here that's going to just pat you on the bum and help you out. Like you're going to have to figure all of this out on your own by yourself.
Yeah.
And that's not a position that a 16-year-old should ever be in, ever.
No. Yeah, it just felt like a lot of pressure.
So then, like, what kind of happened, like, with your family? Because you said your dad didn't go. Did he have any particular reasons that he didn't? Was he, like, an apostate, or was he just, like, apathetic?
So my dad left when I was a baby, so I don't remember him in it at all, but he used to be an elder and we were really poor and
Hmm.
he got really tired of us just living not even comfortably.
Hmm.
He always says like his breaking point was when he couldn't buy me and my brother a candy bar to like split at the gas station and he was just kind of like fuck all this, like something's got to change.
Jeez.
Yeah, so he started his own business, his own appliance repair business, and
Hmm.
he kind of like stepped back from the Jehovah's Witnesses to take more care of his family. And instead of just like being able to gracefully like step down, like, hey, I don't want to be an elder anymore, like he got like reprimanded for it.
Oh.
Kind of like you should be doing this first, kind of a thing, when he
But
was
that's
just
the
trying to take care of
opposite of
his
literally what
family.
the Bible says. They said you have to take care of your family first before the congregation. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh.
So he got a lot of flack for that. And my dad is someone who takes everything very personally and he cuts people out very easily. Like he's cut a lot
Sorry,
of
I'm
people out.
eating lunch
No,
as you're
no, it's okay. I
talking.
was like, that looks so good. Like our fruit here is not good unless it's summertime. So I'm like, God, I could go for a strawberry right now. But
I'm giving you like fruit envy.
yeah, that's all I thought. I'm like, oh, that looks so good.
I mean, it is really good. I'm not gonna lie. I actually made some sangria last night and
Oh,
had these strawberries. It was delicious.
that's
Anyway,
amazing. Sorry.
religious trauma, not
Oh, religious
strawberries.
trauma.
It is nice though
So
that to be able to laugh about it though, and like
no,
actually,
and like if I seem like too smiley or laughing, it's just that's how I cope with stuff. Like me and my friends all the time are like, ah, trauma abuse, because it's like
it's. I
I don't
mean,
know.
I
I'm
would
so
say
tired
it's
of
a sign that you have advanced to a place in your life where you can laugh about these things.
yeah, it's like I don't think any of it's like funny,
No,
but
I.
it's like I'm so tired of crying about it. Like I've cried so much for so long. Like I'm just so done crying about this shit that it's like I don't know. I'd
That's my
rather make a
entire
joke out of
shtick.
it.
Like, I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
I've been walking on the street and had a phone call with my dad, and I literally laid in the middle of, not in the middle of the road, but on the side of the road in the fetal position crying as a grown ass 30-year-old man. Like,
that's
I've
horrible.
spent enough time crying about this.
Yeah.
Let's take our
Yes.
power back. But anyway, continue.
So, like, my dad's the type of person he'll just cut people out for like one thing, like
Hmm.
including me, his daughter. We'll get to that in another chapter. But and so he just kind of quit going, and then I think he more faded than anything. But he was baptized, but he was never disfellowshipped.
Hmm.
I guess I don't really know like the details behind him like leaving, but I know that was kind of like the catalyst for him to be like, okay, I'm like done.
But that was
And
when you were
then
younger, though. And
yeah,
so he
and then
was
he always
like just kind of in the background, or
yeah, like at
like was he
at
around at all in any way? Or
yeah,
okay,
like him and my mom are still together and like we were like all together.
okay.
But I mean, my parents fought all the time. They still do. And they fight over like the dumbest shit. Like they have the most toxic, horrible relationship that I've ever seen. And like, I don't even care that I'm publicly saying that right now because it's true. And like, they've tried so hard for so long to keep up these appearances of like, oh, we're still together and we celebrate our anniversary. And I get two
Hmm.
bouquets of flowers on our anniversary. And it's like, okay, the other
300.
300,
I was literally
yeah.
about to say we said 300 at the same time.
You get it. Like the
No.
whole rest of the year is trash.
Hmm.
So, so yeah, he was there. Like he was always very like like materially like provided for us, and it's really weird because I was a daddy's girl growing up.
Hmm.
And we did a lot of stuff together, and like he'd keep me home from school and we'd like build a deck for the house. And like I have a lot of really good, sorry, my cats. I have a lot of really
Content
good,
cats. You got to let them in the
yeah,
screen.
content cats. I have a lot of good childhood memories with him.
Hmm.
None of them are just like spiritual. And I just remember that always being such a big fight between him and my mom constantly. And he always would bring up this story of a wedding that he went to kind of after he faded. It was a Jehovah's Witness wedding.
Hmm.
And people were like, oh, he's just here for the food. Ha ha. And he took that like so personally that he just never talked to anyone or went back ever again.
Wow.
And he like he brought that up so many times like in my childhood, like it was such a big deal that that happened to him. And it's like, okay,
Well, I would have a lot to say about making your problems your kids' problems, but I won't go on that rant because,
yeah. And
yeah.
it's hard because he did that with relatives too. And like I've reconnected with them, but like my two cousins that live relatively close to us, and then one of my aunts, like he always acted like they were the worst people. And it was the same thing. Like he cut them off for literally nothing.
Hmm.
Like less than a misunderstanding. And it's so weird knowing the truth now. And it's so irritating because all these wasted years I could have had with my blood relatives and they're just wasted
Yeah. Just
over
because,
petty shit.
yeah, pettiness is not a reason to cut people off.
No.
Maybe it's a hot take by Wally there, but I think pettiness is bad. So then
Yeah.
you were like kind of struggling as a teenager. You know, your dad's not there. Your mom's trying to be spiritual. Your brother, he kind of dipped out and wasn't really interested in it. What was sort of the thing that brought you from, hey, I need to try and be a good Jehovah's Witness to fuck this?
Yeah. So I feel like we have to go back and talk about like me and my brother's relationship.
Okay.
because me and him, like leading up to that, because you and me kind of talked about that before, but like he
I already know
wasn't.
the answer to the question I asked. I'm just asking. Come on, it's an interview. Just kidding.
Because like he is and he was my best friend, you know, growing up, like we were so close. We did everything together. Like we had normal sibling like fights and stuff, but
Hmm.
like he was always my person. Like I never felt that really with my mom or my dad, even though, you know, we did a lot of stuff together. Like they weren't like my people that I could go to and like tell everything to. But like me and my brother, we could tell each other everything. And I don't know. We were so close to each other and we always were. And like, even after he left the witnesses, like, I didn't really care. Like, he didn't care that I was still in it. Like, it didn't matter. Like, it did not affect our relationship.
That's really actually pretty cool, to be honest.
Yeah. And like, he would tease me about it or whatever. And he'd be like, "What are you witnessing?" Like, just like dumb shit. But it's like, you know, and I think like he was such an intelligent person. I think he knew. Like he just could see the world for exactly how it was, and I think that that's a lot of what tormented him too, and like did not help his mental illness was that
Hmm.
he could see things very like for what they were and like deeper than a lot of people.
Hmm.
And I think he knew like I'm just a kid, I'll grow out of it, like I'll figure it out. So it wasn't a big deal. Like looking back, like I feel like that's how he would have had to feel about me still being a witness. And I don't know, like my fondest memories with him is like just cruising Broadway and his like shitty Dodge Intrepid, and we'd get like a Domino's medium pizza and just like eat the whole thing and just like drive around and listen to like a burnt CD of like 12 songs. Like
What was
just
on the playlist? We got to age yourself now. Are we talking like Green Day, Three Doors Down?
we're talking like Tears Don't Fall.
Oh wow, okay.
Oh my God, what else was even on there? Now I can't because you
Oh,
asked me.
the pressure immediately
Yeah, I'll have
rises.
to send you like the pressures too, like My Chemical Romance, like old school
Oh
My
come
Chemical
on, yeah,
Romance, Thriving Ivory,
yeah.
Matchbox 20.
Hell yeah. Okay.
The deep grip that Matchbox 20 still has on me, like I can't explain it.
If you're a '90s child, you know.
Yes.
You already know.
Yes. So as he got older, like his mental illness got a lot worse. Like he was severely bipolar. And like I think my parents got him the best treatment they could with the information they had.
Hmm.
Um, but when I was in like early high school, me and my mom were driving, and I remember exactly where we were driving, and she looks at me and she goes, "Do you think John's gay?"
Hmm.
And there was something inside of me that was like, "Bitch, maybe." Like, I don't know. And I was like, I don't know. Like, I'd never thought about it before. So I went
Hmm.
home and I immediately went downstairs and was like, "John, mom asked me if you're gay." And he looks at me and he's like, "I am." And like, I was
Wow.
just like,
Just like that.
"Oh, yeah."
That's good.
He's like at his little computer and he's like, "I am." Like,
That... Well, I guess that's one way to come out. Yeah.
and I just like sat on his bed and it just like took me a minute. And I was
Hmm.
like, that makes sense why you're like so like cute about stuff all the time. Like, I don't know. But it didn't bother me. Like I didn't
Yeah.
think it was wrong, like ever, you know, like genuinely.
Yeah.
And I just cringe knowing that there's people that had been in my life where I'm like, I respect you, but I don't agree with you. And it's like, I didn't mean that.
Hmm.
Like, I hate that I ever said that to people, you know, and I wish I could just take it back because I never felt that. Like,
I re-
literally, no one cares.
I remember specifically like the one time it ever came up, like just randomly out in service. Oh damn it! I said out in service. That's a JW term. When I was outdoor banging, um, when I was door banging, someone asked me like our stance on how the LGBTQ community, and I said, well, we don't hate anyone. We just don't
Ugh,
approve of their lifestyle. And just to this day, I'm like, that's so horrible. I just, yeah.
It's icky. I
Yeah.
know, and I hate it, and it literally makes like my stomach turn a little bit.
Yeah. So
But
I mean,
like,
obviously, like the one of the most difficult positions to be in is like growing up as a Jehovah's Witness and you're gay. Like it's horrible,
yeah.
and no doubt.
So like luckily that never put a wedge between us. Like I really didn't care. If anything, I was like, hell yeah, like we can go to the mall and look at boys together. Like this just like upgraded like our sibling bond to like a whole new level.
He came in with like the DLC bonus pack.
So, and the shitty thing is like my parents knew,
Hmm.
but like they never talked to him about it.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, that's so much worse than just telling your kid you don't agree with it. Like
Yeah.
just letting them live in limbo and like let their mind wander about how you feel about them. I don't know. To me, it's worse, and for him, like personally, it definitely was worse because he was very like hopeless romantic.
Yeah.
There was zero gay community here at all at that time.
Mm.
Like little Midwest town. I mean,
Mm.
there's gay people here. Yes. Do you think anyone knows who they are? No. Like
Yeah, that's hard.
it's hard. Like it sucked. And now there is like a really great community here. Like there's literally a drag show last night in our town.
Oh,
Like,
fun.
and that's hard too, but because it's like, okay, everything's like good now, like there is that now, but
It didn't exist 10 years ago.
it didn't. And so he never found that love. And like he was suicidal like his whole life, like since he started having mental health issues, and like he had multiple attempts. Like there was a morning I woke up to my mom screaming at the top of her lungs because he was laying on the basement floor, like just like nightmare shit.
Hmm.
And like it's just hard knowing that that's always a possibility, but like you never think it's gonna happen.
Hmm.
But then like less than a week before my 19th birthday, like he finally succeeded and like he did
Mm.
take his own life. And like that was like the worst day of my life.
I mean, that
Like hands down. And
it's like your
I
brother, your
hate,
best friend, your mall
yeah.
buddy, your everything, you know?
Yes, like he was just gone. Like that
Hmm.
was my person. And it just sucks because we were very dependent on each other, like probably to an unhealthy level, like dependent on each other to like keep each other well.
Hmm.
And like he'd said to me before, and like I know now like it wasn't fair for him to say this, but like he said to me before, like you're the reason that I'm alive. So it's
Damn.
like it still like really fucks with me, and like I know like it's never anybody's fault.
Hmm.
And like um it was like a couple days before he ended up taking his life. We were at like a little Irish restaurant and we were eating, and he told me like a month before that he had tried to take his life. And I'm just like, bro, what the fuck? Like, you got to tell me this stuff. Like, you got to tell me like before you try to do it. Um, and then before we left, he's like, we should come back here for breakfast. Like, they have really good eggs Benedict. And then like a few days later, like he was gone. And like I don't, it's just it still doesn't seem real. Like like I break a phone every fucking year, like shatter it beyond repair, and his phone number always like re-downloads in my phone. Like I've lost like hundreds of like my clients' contacts and like everything, but there's just like always this little piece of him, like just
Hmm.
like little shit like that where I feel like I don't really know what I believe happens to people like after they die. Like I like to have like an open mind now, but I
Hmm.
just feel like I still feel like he's like here with me. Cause like that day, like it fucks me up because I'm like, I never felt him leave. Like I feel like as close as we are, like I should have felt him go.
Hmm.
But like I was so blindsided because my I'm trying to like make sense. I'm sorry if I'm jumping around a lot.
You're way more eloquent than I would be at this exact moment in time, to be honest.
I've
So,
I've just talked about him so many times to so many people. Like I'm
hmm
trying to be such a huge advocate for like suicide awareness and just to try to be like a safe person for people to talk to. Um, so I guess I'm not like numb talking about it, but I'm just not as like reactive as I used to be.
yeah.
Um, but like my mom was out of state when it happened.
Oh
And
wow.
it was just
Oh
and my
wow.
uncle was yeah, and it was my dad and my uncle were at my parents' house and I was living on my own in my little apartment. And I forget. I think my mom called me and told me that I needed to go to my apartment because
hmm
someone was gonna to a couple from our congregation was gonna meet me there. They had to talk to me.
hmm
And I was like, whose dick sucking did they find out about now? Like what like what are they gonna reprimand me for now?
You're not wrong.
Like honestly, I'm like, great. Like, what did I do now?
hmm
So I got to my apartment and I remember because it was like a little fourplex, and I remember opening the door and looking down the stairs, and I was like, no fucking way. Like
Yeah.
I just instantly knew. And I
Yeah.
was like,
That is.
and I remember and I get kind of like I have no idea what it's like to lose a child. I really hope I never do. But like my dad just like called me and told me over the phone. And like, I'm sure that's the best that he could do, but it was just like the worst way to find that out to me. Like, I feel like that's something you should like be together for,
Yeah.
like be with each other for. So this couple from the congregation who I was really, really close to was there in my apartment, and I called my dad and he's like, Johnny isn't here anymore. And I just like burst into tears and I looked at them and I was like, that fucking asshole. Like that's all I had to say. Like that's I was just instantly so mad because I'm
Yeah.
like, how could you leave? Like how could you go?
hmm
And I remember, and I swore like that in front of them, and like they didn't say anything. So I was like, "Wow, thanks for being humans for 5 seconds." Like, because I think at that point, I was like Pimo me,
Yeah.
like I was like kind of
hmm
in but kind of out, but I
You
always
were
felt like it was
authentically you.
my yeah, like I always felt like I was like it was my fault that I wasn't a good Christian. Like
hmm
it wasn't the witnesses that were flawed, like it was me that was flawed.
hmm
So anything I felt in my gut that I know now was like fight or flight telling me to get the hell out of there, it felt like you suck, you're a bad person,
I mean,
you're
Watchtower
not good
teaches
enough.
you to
Yeah.
internalize all of those doubts and fears that you have and make them about you and not actually explore
Yes.
legitimate reasons of criticism or concern.
Yes. And so I did not want to stay at my apartment that night.
Yeah.
I went to their house with them and I slept on their little girl's toddler bed and I just like bawled. Like I don't even know what like I just bawled. Like I just couldn't stop crying.
I didn't know you liked
Um
basketball. Sorry.
yeah, I was just in there just dribbling. Like
I'm so stupid. I'm sorry. I have the worst jokes of all time.
no, I love
But I
it.
don't know what I mean. What else do you do though? Like I would just be a freaking wreck. Like you're one
Yeah.
anchor, and everything else is chaos. Like in your family, right? It's just
Oh,
between
I
your
just don't have a good relationship. Yeah.
yeah, and
Neither
like
of my parents.
it's like your world sort of just, and you're fucking 19,
Yeah.
expected to just okay. Now I'm time to just be an adult as I'm a 19-year-old with zero family support and my only person. Yeah, that's just I can't even. Shout outs to you, man. Shout outs
Thank
to
you.
you. Like
And
you were stronger
it
than
just
most of us.
thank you. Like it and after that, like I didn't cut myself after that situation, and
Hmm.
that's when I knew like I would never do it again.
Hmm.
Because I'm like, if I didn't feel the need to do this now, like I will never have to do this again. And like I so like that also was the point of like I completely stopped doing that, which is really weird because I feel like that's when you should like get worse, but I don't know. I was like, you made it through this, you never have to do this again. So now the next events was
I mean, not to like cut you off, but to find strength through tragedy is like a remarkable character, because a lot of times you are correct. People do devolve into more dangerous behavior, more erratic behavior, make less sense of the world, do things that are illogical, but you were starting like the foundation of, okay, I'm going to start learning from my negative experiences versus letting my negative experiences dictate my life, which, I mean, that's a real sign of character, and in my humble
thank
opinion.
you.
I mean,
Thank
I'm an
you.
idiot, so don't take anything I say.
Thank you. So I guess like the next events was really what started to turn things in my mind because
Mm-hmm.
now we had his funeral to plan.
Mm-hmm.
My gay atheist brother's funeral. Oh yeah, you know what's about to go down.
Oh boy.
So, so my uncle decides to stay up here. I love my uncle. I love him so much. He took the last picture of me and my brother together, like it's still on my fridge. Um,
That's
so he
super
stayed
cute.
up
You
here
have
for all
pictures
this.
on your fridge.
Yes, he was the damn glue to like trying to keep us all sane during this. Um, so I knew what my brother wanted. I knew he wanted to be cremated and he would just want something to celebrate him,
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'd all just play N64 games and watch showgirls and wear nipple tassels and just have like a good time.
Out here doing Mario 64 speed runs and playing Mario Kart.
Yes, like literally. Um, that was like our thing. Like he has like a collection. Well, now it's my collection,
Oh, cool.
but we have like 50 N64 games.
Oh, wow. And I'm assuming you
Yeah.
played the 007 game, I hope?
Yes.
Yes! When you know, you
Yes.
know. 90s
Yes.
kids, rise up.
Yes. I remember when he got Conker's Bad Fur Day, and I was like, this is such a bad game.
But it's great.
Yes. So, and I told my parents, I was like, he does not want a Jehovah's Witness funeral.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't want all that. He doesn't want the Bible. He doesn't want all that. So they decided to give him an open casket Jehovah's Witness funeral. Um, and like he didn't have any kind of a will or anything. And the amount of people that wanted to come, like they had to move it from the Kingdom Hall to like a legit like auditorium room
Oh,
in
wow.
our town. Yeah. And the brother that gave the talk, I have nothing nice to say about him.
I wouldn't either.
I hope his skid marks never wash out and he's always a little itchy. Like, I really
That's
just
actually a really
wish.
good curse. I think maybe we'll use that for the intro. We'll like and subscribe, or you'll get itchy skid marks forever.
Do. Please do. I would be so honored to have the intro.
That'll be good.
And it's like, so half of this auditorium was like witnesses that could have gave a fuck less about my brother and like people that actually loved him.
Mm-hmm.
And like me, my best friend, me and her quick side thing about her, like I met her when she was still a study and she was like 11, I was like 14,
Mm-hmm.
and we instantly were like, girl, like we were like,
Mm-hmm.
yes, like sleepovers in a twin size bed, like inseparable little friends. Like we're both out now, we're still close. Like I'm in her wedding in September. Like I love her to death. She kept me freaking sane through all those years.
That's so
And
adorable.
yes, and like I just held her little tiny hand through everything. So she's right next to me the whole day. And people had more to say about the length of her dress than about my brother. And also she's like 16 at this time.
I Yeah. Jehovah's Witness sorry. Could be anything really, but
Yeah.
memorials. They're not memorials. They're propaganda pieces. They
It
have
was, yeah.
in their outline, there's a finite amount of time you can talk about the person. I think it says like 5 minutes you can tell stories or something about the person. And then for the next 30 minutes, go and talk about why you need to be a Jehovah's Witness if you ever want to see them again. It's so, yeah, it's like a spit in the face of the person's like life. Like
It,
you're not,
yeah.
it's not a memorial. It's just like you're pissing on their grave. I really hate it.
And that's literally exactly what happened. Like there was a little blurb of like what I asked to be said about him, and then the rest. And this brother, I swear to God, I'm sitting in the front row, like front and center, and he's like mumbling into the microphone because he's like nervous. I don't know if he thought like demons were there with us. Like he just was like no one heard what he was saying.
Hitting you with
And
the
he's like
Joe Biden?
and he's like shaking a little bit, and I was like I was like, well, like a few days prior to that I was like, well, if it's gonna have to be like a Jehovah's Witness thing, I was like, at least make sure there's like minimal scriptures or like no scriptures or like not preachy. And it was so preachy.
Mm-hmm.
It was so gross. I like literally felt my brother's like body like rise up and be like,
Are you
you know,
kidding
like,
me?
yeah, like it was just messed up.
Yeah, I will never go to another Jehovah's Witness memorial, I think, ever again. I'm just, after I went to my grandma's, I was so mad and like, just, I was angry. Just the entire talk. I was just like clenching my fist and was like, I brought like little pencils that I could just like break and stuff. I was just, it was awful. I did not like it at all.
It wasn't good.
Mm-hmm.
It was, yeah, it was. And then like we went to his burial.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. We went to his burial, and like leaving the cemetery, me and my best friend blasted like the most inappropriate song we could with like all my windows down, because that's what he would have wanted. Like
Yeah.
that was him. Like he
Mm-hmm.
was inappropriate, he was funny, like he was just goofy.
Yeah.
He loved shock humor.
Mm-hmm.
Like he would have loved current memes more than anything.
Well, at one point, I think you said he would have liked if you all were nipple tassels. So, yeah,
Yes.
I think at least you could do what you could in that current situation to honor his life and what he would have wanted. And no one
Yes.
else would have understood that was there better than you, no doubt.
Yeah. Yes.
And to have the little skid mark elder like disrespect your wishes when you were the person that knew him best and you were the one that should have the final say of like how the
Yes.
proceeding should happen, for him to just hijack that and be like, but you have a spot in God's kingdom, am I right? Like, piss off.
Icky.
Yeah.
And I remember trying to talk to my parents about this
Mm-hmm.
like a couple years ago and being like, "Hey, like this was really hurtful that no one listened to me and like blah blah blah." And my mom dead ass looked me in the eyes and goes, "You must have just made that up in your head."
Wow. You know,
If that gives you
you
like
sound crazy right now. What?
yes.
Manipulation 101. That is so awful.
My parents are very, it is their perspective and that's it. That's what happened.
Hmm.
And if you try to talk to them about anything, it's like, why wasn't anything we did good enough for you? I'm like, why was nothing I did good
Good enough
enough
for
for
you.
you?
Yeah. Do you think it's a coping mechanism to deal with their own like failures and stuff?
I don't know. It
Uh,
could be. It really could be.
I wonder the same thing about my family sometimes. I'm just like, are you guys just coping and you just can't face the fact that you done messed up and you just don't have the coconuts to own up to it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Cause like my mom now, it's like talking to a chat bot. Like she just kind of spits back like what she thinks you're supposed to say.
I think that is the best way. I've ever heard of talking to a Jehovah's Witness. I don't know why I've never thought of that before.
It's like texting her is literally like texting like a early 2000s AI. Like
This is like like talking to Cortana.
yes.
Oh my lord.
It's so frustrating.
So, all of this is happening with your family, sort of the world crumbling underneath your feet, everyone acting like a bunch of assholes. Where does that leave you, like, as a human being? Like, just.
Um, I felt really alone, and he passed away on May 27th. My 19th birthday was June 1st. His funeral was June 3rd. And that they were gonna have his funeral on my birthday, and I was like, okay, I know we don't celebrate birthdays, but like that's a little too
That's.
far.
Yeah, that's not a thing.
And then July is like the 3-day assembly
Oh, Lord.
convention. Yeah.
Did
And
you go?
I just remember being so like that whole month like is just gone. Like I couldn't tell you what I did. I couldn't,
Yeah.
I just mainly went to work, and everyone at work was really supportive. Like they all took the day off to be at his funeral and stuff. Um, I just worked my ass off, and then I remember going and being like, okay, my mind is like a mess. I don't know what I believe. I don't know how to feel. I just felt really lost and like really alone, really lonely. Um, so we're at the 3-day, and I'm like, okay, this is gonna be what I need. This is gonna like give me some answers. This is gonna like
Mm-hmm.
get me going again, get me on the right track again. And then after
Interesting.
the
So you
three,
were like thinking, oh, the convention, here's where I can get the spiritual boost for the.
yes, I was like, I need something. Like I'm fucking drowning. Like I need
Yeah.
a lifesaver. Like
Mm-hmm.
I need something. And then after the 3-day, on our hour-and-a-half drive back home, we like hadn't even left the town yet, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like full full mental breakdown.
Oh.
Like my mom pulls the car over to the Walmart parking lot, and I'm like hysterical, and I'm like, "Mom, none of this shit makes any sense."
Wow.
I was like, "This is the same shit every year." Because I just remember being
Mm-hmm.
like, "I've heard all this before." They just
Mm-hmm.
like slap a different little slogan on it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I don't feel better. I don't feel encouraged. I don't want to seal clap anymore at everything. Like, I don't, like, it just all hit me. I'm like, none of this shit's real.
And how old were you? You're 19?
I just turned
You just turned
19.
19. Wow.
Yeah. And it's like in my head, stuff didn't feel right, but you're told, like, don't question it.
Yeah, doubts are
Whatever.
like Satan. You don't want to be like Satan who said, "Is it really so?" You don't want to do that.
Everything's demons. Everyone's an NPC demon. Like, just stay the course,
Mm-hmm.
stay in your little snow globe. And it just all like, I don't know. There was just something about that convention that just, it didn't give me what I needed.
Hmm.
And it,
What was that?
and
I
then
mean, what was that moment like? I mean, your mom pulls over and you're hysterical. I mean, you maybe don't even remember, but maybe you at least remember like the emotion that she was expressing. Was she frantic? Was she trying to read you scriptures? Was she calling elders? Like, what was her
I like
reaction to it?
honestly don't even remember. I think
Yeah.
she just tried to calm me down. My mom
Mm-hmm.
never handled me well when I was hysterical. Like my own mental health problems growing up, I had emergency pills. So if I was having a panic attack, instead of like just being there for me, she's like, I'll go get you your pill. And like nothing makes you feel better about yourself than feeling like you're in a fucking hospital.
Yeah. Should I be a good parent or pump my kid full of Lexapro?
Yeah. And like, I don't know. I'm like, maybe I think she really did try the best she could with what she had, but I'm like, it just, it wasn't what I needed at
Yeah.
all. And I was always like way over medicated.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like the Christian standard, like meek, quiet, and that was not me. So they're like, she must need more drugs. Like she needs more.
Look at this individual with a real personality trying to shine through. No, no, no.
So I remember my school friends being like, you're kind of like quiet and like a zombie. And I'm like, yeah,
She
I'm
just,
better. Like,
yeah,
not good.
I don't like
So
being a potato myself.
yeah. And I honestly don't remember what my mom's reaction was, but I remember my best friend who's also left, like she was in the car with us, like she came with us.
Oh,
And
really?
I feel like her like she oh my God, she still loves me so unconditionally. And I feel like her vibe was more like, bitch, I'm already there. Like she was
Oh,
like
and
she
is this
was
the
like,
same friend that was at the memorial with you, like holding your hand, and they were
yes,
talking about her dress? Okay,
yes. She was mentally out way before I was, I think,
okay,
but she kind of had to stay in. She was like the only one in her family that was in,
okay.
and they were like, "It's up to you to get us through Armageddon." Like that pressure was on her as like the youngest kid. So,
Lord.
but I I remember her vibe being more like supportive than anything, but I really don't remember what my mom's was, and I
Hmm.
don't even remember like that drive home or anything. I just remember that moment of like, whoa, my whole life has been fake and none of
Hmm.
this is real and none of this makes sense to me anymore.
I think that's one of the most fascinating things, at least for me, just like talking to lots of people that have left the organization, is how all of us had this moment. And almost every single person I talk to have had this moment. And it comes in the weirdest places. Some people are out in service, some people are driving home from the convention. Mine was on stage, like, right before I was about to give the last prayer of the meeting. And just like, we all have this moment where we just say, this is a load of crap.
Yeah.
None of this makes any sense. And I mean, I know what it was like for me. Like, I couldn't sleep for days. I just was manic. Like,
Yeah.
it was anyway. So what was like your next like move then? Because obviously it just all clicked right away. Was it to investigate the reasons why, or was it to try and distance yourself from it?
I definitely just immediately tried to distance myself from it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I feel like this is a pattern in like most congregations, but the very like if you miss a meeting, the next meeting, they're gonna be like, "Where were you? How you
God,
been? What's going on?"
it's like the start to a horror movie every time.
It is. It
You weren't at
is.
our last meeting. Are you okay?
Just the like, I don't know, the lack of self-awareness is just,
Mm-hmm.
and for most of those times I was a child. Like, get out of my business. I'm a kid.
You're 19. You're like, I,
Yes.
people can say what they want. Oh, 19, you're an adult. Sorry. In my mind, you're 19,
No,
you're a kid.
I was
You're,
a baby.
yes.
So I, at that point, I was just like, I'm not going to meetings. Like, I
Were you
pretty
living with your
much,
parents at the time, or had you moved
I
out?
did. I did
Okay.
move back in with them because
Okay.
it was just, I didn't want to live alone anymore. It
Mm-hmm.
felt too scary for me. I started to get really bad paranoia, like all the time. Like I just felt like everything was gonna kill me. Like every time I got in the car, I was gonna die. Like everyone I loved was gonna die. Like really paranoid. And that actually lasted like years and years and years until I got medicated for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't realize how bad it was until I was medicated as an adult. And I'm like, oh, this is how your brain's supposed to think.
Wow, those selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors really are a real hootenanny in your brain. Boy, howdy.
Yeah. Yeah, like it was not good. So I did end up moving back in with them. And then that January, so it's like July to January, that's all just kind of me fading, dyeing my hair every color I possibly can, because now I don't give a shit anymore. Did not go to meetings. And then in that January, I moved to another town and I started cosmetology school.
Okay.
And then I was living on my own again.
So then you
And
go
like,
through the no doubt dreaded zone of I left Watchtower. I'm a child with no experience in the world because no one out there watching this video has ever experienced this. I
no,
think we've all actually gone through this where we're just like,
yeah.
okay, bring on the world, and we have no context. So, did you manage, or was it a bumpy ride?
It was a bumpy ride.
Hmm.
I think I could have, it was a bumpy ride. I pretty much went through like my emo scene like clothing phase then because I was like, I get to do this now, and had like Goodwill like emo scene style.
I just see
It was
you like
not
with flannel shirts and like jeans, like using a razor blade, like cutting the holes in your jeans and stuff.
wearing holy jeans was like the most exciting thing for me. Like it was so fun. I'm like, this is so
Oh
good.
my goodness.
Just like dumb stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got my first tattoo,
Wow.
which
What, you
me and
have
my
tattoos?
brother, huh?
You have tattoos?
Just a few. Because me and my brother always said we were gonna get brother sister
Mm-hmm.
tattoos. And he only had one, and he had like a giant lion like all up his side, and I
Okay.
was like, I'm not getting that. So I got like a tinier version of it on my thigh.
Okay.
So that was my first tattoo.
Sorry, YouTube, we can't show that.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and that was just like so cool. And I remember being so scared to show my parents. I'm like, it's for John. And then they were more okay with it.
That's actually really special, like just to hear, like, I mean, I maybe we have different beliefs or whatever because I'm kind of like there's no supernatural things, but something I do firmly believe in is like to live in the minds of those you love is not to die, and so
Yeah.
like keeping him alive and you know even just getting that tattoo was like, oh, we were always going to get a brother sister tattoo, like just like keeping his memory alive
Yes.
and like talking about him and stuff. I think that's really cool that you do that.
Thank you.
Hmm.
I really try to. And like even like my kids, like my girls, spoiler.
We're not even at that part of the story.
But like they even like know who he is and they like know him enough to like they'll be like stuff will remind them of him.
That's
And
so,
it's just it just makes me so happy.
yeah.
Um so I started cosmetology school and honestly like I wasn't as unhinged as I could have been because it was like 40-hour weeks of school and it was like the same I don't know how many girls were there, like 30 to 40
Were
girls.
you working at the like working and going to school at the same time?
I tried, but I was way too mentally ill. Like there was
Yeah.
no way.
I was about to
Like
say, like, how are you?
I tried to work at Cold Stone Creamery because I was like a DQ girl in high school. So I was like, I'll try the other one. And I just it was not good.
And that whole sentence really took me back. I was a DQ girl in high school, so I tried the other one, and I'm like, that was like the simplest, best way you could ever put that.
I'm like, might as well.
Yeah, no, it's true though.
Ugh. Dairy Queen also kept me sane in high school. God, oh, it was like the tiny ones where it was either drive up or you walk up to the window. Like that was it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. We only had those because there was like shootings or stuff at some of the ones where I lived, and so they had to actually
God.
close down because there was
Oh,
like shootings so often. But I grew up with in an area with a lot of gang violence, so
that's horrible.
yeah, it's
Oh.
fucking crazy. But
Okay, so I'm in cosmetology school. I'm living my dream. I've always been obsessed with hair, like since I was a very, very little kid. Um, and I didn't really like living alone. And me and another girl in my class were talking about how like we didn't like living alone. It was scary, blah, blah, blah. And then we were kind of like, and so she moved in with me.
okay,
So I was like, cool, now I have a roommate. And
hmm
like our apartment was a little two-story apartment with a spiral staircase. Like it was just so cute.
like the metal spiral staircase that was like super thin. Yeah, straight
Yes.
out of
We had
nineteen
to
like
like lift
70.
the bed
Yeah.
vertically. Yeah. Um, so she moved in and it was like a few weeks after she moved in, like I was really unwell.
hmm
And me and her weren't really close at this point, so that's why we're like, it'll work. We're not that close. Like we can go to school 40 hours a week and live together. Like it's fine.
hmm
Um, and I just woke up one morning and I was just like, my brain just was not good.
hmm
And I'm like, okay, I'm an hour and a half away from my parents.
hmm
Like I'm just scared. And I just did not want to hurt myself. Like I was just terrified. And so my roommate left for the weekend. She went back home and I like I acted like everything was fine to her. And I called my mom and I was like, you have to come get me. Like, I'm so scared right now.
Hmm.
So she came and got me and drove me back to our town. And I was like, I don't know. I'm like, I'm just scared. And my dad was making it so much worse, like so much worse. Like she brought me home and he was just like making it about him and like all this shit. And I was like, I feel like I need to go to the hospital. I don't trust myself. Like I was like, I just really feel like I need to go to the hospital. And like I'd
Mm-hmm.
never been like admitted anywhere before for like any of my stuff, but I was just like, I was just so scared. Like I just remember being so scared and feeling like out of body experience.
It's so crazy to me that
And
you're 19 and you're still more mature than your parents. Like, they should have been the ones
thank
like, hey,
you.
maybe we need to go to the hospital. And you're like, well, you dipshits aren't going to do it, so I guess I'll tell you.
Yeah.
That's
And my
crazy.
dad's like, no, like you don't need to go to the hospital. You should just stay here, blah, blah, blah. So me and my mom have to get a fucking hotel room because he's throwing such a fit. And she's like, I'll take you to the hospital in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So we're literally in the hotel room. And then I wake up that morning and I start to like do my makeup and stuff. And she's like, don't do your makeup. They're not going to think you're sick if you have makeup on.
What? Okay. I guess.
And I'm
Like,
like,
because I
like,
mean that is a statistical thing, though. I mean she was operating in real science there. Anyone that has
yeah.
makeup doesn't have mental health problems. It's science. I don't know.
It's science.
Yeah, you
And
should have gotten on her level.
I'm just like, so I did my, and that's kind of like relevant later, like that's why I bring that up. And also just how my parents talk to me in general, like is
Hmm.
very fucking stressful. So we go there and everyone was so nice and so just like sweet and empathetic. And it's so dramatic because you go to the hospital and they like have to take you in an ambulance.
Oh wow. Okay.
And like the hospital to like the psych ward is like here. So it's like 2 blocks away, and I'm just like, this is so dumb, but okay.
Yeah.
So that part felt really like cringy and embarrassing, but like I don't know. And it was like a 3 day like self-induced hold or whatever.
Hmm.
And the nurse there, like I really wish I could remember like what the hell his name was because um he would just like talk to me and he's like I can tell that you want to get better.
Hmm.
And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, look at you. He's like, you woke up, you did your makeup, you put yourself together, you got yourself here. He's like, you're gonna get better.
Um,
He's like, you don't have to come back here.
Imagine a trained professional knowing a thing or two. It's a wild concept.
Yes. And it was just such a weird experience. Like, there was the one guy. I feel like there's always like the one guy in every psych ward that's just screaming 24/7. Like, bless his heart. I don't know what he was going through, but it was like all day and all night. And they put me on like blood pressure medication for my nightmares, which
Jeez.
just made me really sick and dizzy.
Yeah. Jeez.
And there was a woman who found out I was like in hair school and she's like, my hair changes colors when I'm mad. And I'm like, I'm not gonna make you mad. I don't need to see that. It's okay.
Dr. Banner out here, like, getting exposed to. She's like, imagine She-Hulk, but you get mad and only your hair turns green. Kind of anime is this?
Ugh. And I don't know. I just remember sleeping a lot and finally feeling like semi-rested. And then the few people that worked there talking to me and then being like, you're gonna be okay. Like you
Hmm.
don't like you're gonna be okay. Like you want help, so you're gonna be okay. And like that was all of their attitudes. And I was so scared to leave that place because I'm like, now I have to go back to my brand new roommate who probably thinks I'm fucking crazy,
Mm.
and all this stuff. And I get back to my parents' house and there's a fucking bouquet of flowers from all the girls at hair school. And they just said that they want me to get better.
That's like you finally like found a place,
Yeah.
where people
And like,
accepted you.
yeah, sorry.
No, it's
I have my napkin pile.
I came prepared too, so I
Oh, Christ.
no,
But
but
it
I
was
mean
just
it
like,
when you finally have human kindness, like, and that's what we're devoid
yes.
of. Like we grow up in this environment where it's like I'm a child and everyone's always asking me to do something and to be this way and to think this way and to dress this way and to talk this way and to do these things, and all of them are unnatural. And then you finally get to a situation, even like you said, people at your work all took the day off to come to your
Yes.
brother's memorial, and like you experience human kindness, like, oh, the world doesn't completely suck all the time. Like, this
Yes.
isn't normal. And it's just like, it's such a wonderful experience. Like, oh, my family's not normal. They are weirdos. They're crazy. Like, they're
Yes.
toxic. They're dangerous. They're not
Yes.
helpful. And you like experience human
No.
kindness. You're like, oh, okay, I can be a person.
It was overwhelming to not
Hmm.
be judged and for them to be like, wow, like you're going through a hard time. Everyone was just happy to see me because I ended up taking like a 2 week leave from school just to like breathe. And when I went back, everyone was like happy.
Hmm.
No one treated me different. And I
Hmm.
didn't expect that because of all the things you just said, like, because it felt like I failed.
Yeah, but you
And
didn't.
me and that roommate, plot twist, we're best friends. Like everyone's like, you guys are gonna hate each other, and we're like the only people that are still friends. Like,
Well,
uh,
that's a pretty
and it's
wholesome
like,
plot twist.
yes, like I remember when I got back to town, her being like Snapchatting me, being like, look who I found, and we're like driving around, and like life was good.
Hmm.
Just having that kindness, like I'll never forget them for doing that. It was like 6 or 7 girls that like sent flowers to my parents' house to be like, hey, hope you feel better.
And it always amazes me about how easy it is to just be a human being. And I can never get my head around like how there's millions of people out there that just refuse, and they're killing their children. They are
Yeah.
completely messing them up in all of these fundamental ways. And all you have to do is just say, it's going to be okay. Here's a
Yeah.
chocolate cake. Do you want to go out for ice cream? Like, I mean, maybe it's another Wally hot take, but it's not that
No,
hard to be a human
it's
being.
not. No. And it's the simple little things that
Hmm.
mean the most. It doesn't have to be like this grandiose, like, it's
Yeah.
just be a person. Like, human connection is so powerful and beautiful.
Hmm.
And like learning that the last like 10 years of being out has just, it's amazing. It's
Sometimes I
amazing.
just want to cry, eat ice cream, and have someone hold me in the fetal position
Yes.
while I watch old episodes of The Office. That's all I want in life.
Yes.
But, well, I'm at least happy. You went through all hell and back, but I'm happy that
Yeah.
you experienced like some human kindness. So was that like a springboard for you, like
Oh
for
God, yeah.
recovering with your mental health? Just like knowing that not everyone in the world is out to like make your life miserable.
Yes. And like cosmetology school was just such a cool experience. Like
Hmm.
it was not perfect by any means. There was so much drama. Like we were all like young and
Yeah.
so much just together time and dealing with clients and
Yeah.
learning and the instructors of my school were just the best people in the whole world. Like the most humble, hardworking,
Hmm.
just sweet women. Like they set such a good foundation for like I don't know, just me as a person to grow from them and like as a cosmetologist. And it was just so good. It was such a good experience.
Okay.
And and I did make like lifelong friends there that I'm still friends with. And we've seen each other through a lot of ups and downs and twists and turns. And like your love doesn't change.
Hmm.
And just knowing like feeling real friendship is just it's crazy. I don't even have words for it. Like it's so beautiful. Going from like witness friendship where none of those people gave a fuck about me. Like after my brother passed away and I stopped going, they were just like, "Oh, it was too much for her. Like that's what did her in. The devil got her."
Hmm.
Like that's not a friend.
I know like the term is overused, but it's when you go from having a conditional love and conditional friendships, until where you
Yes.
finally experience someone that's like, no, I just, I want to be your friend. I want to be with you. Like, and
Yes.
because you're great. And, we're going to get through this together versus someone that says, well, you made all of these mistakes. And, this is really a consequence of your actions. And you need to get yourself right. And why haven't you talked to the elders? And maybe you need to pray, go to meetings, go out in service. Like, shut up. Yeah, that's wonderful. So what
It
happened
is.
like on your journey? Like what was like the next stage? So we have Mariah 1.5 now,
Yes.
battled some mental health issues, went to the hospital, and a couple bouquets of flowers lifted your spirits. What was your next step in the journey?
So towards the end of cosmetology school, I graduated in a year and a day.
Okay.
So in like,
And one
excuse
day.
me, a year and one day. Exactly.
It wasn't a leap year that year.
No. So in like the fall, I started dating this guy, and we'd been dating. You
You
already
already
know.
know
So we've been dating.
I couldn't help my facial
I
expressions.
know.
I tried so hard.
I know. So we've been dating for a couple months. I graduate in January of 2015.
Hmm.
Graduated cosmetology school. I start I start my job at a salon, and like a month later, I get pregnant with someone I've dated for like 4 or 5 months. And then I get pregnant with twins. Like not only am I pregnant, but I'm pregnant with twins. So
Why
we're
stop
just,
the fun at one?
yeah. And it was not a good relationship at all. I could really go into detail. We could get like a whole kettle of tea and just like sip the whole thing, but it was not a good relationship. Did not make me feel good about myself. Very, very head of household energy. Um,
Was it a product of maybe your inexperience with what real relationships might look like? Just gonna
yeah,
throw that one out there.
yes. And it was very like a lot of people are like, why were you guys together? And it's like, have you ever been lonely? Have you ever never been in love? Have
Hmm.
you ever really wanted to be with someone?
Hmm. And it's
So,
not like you had a good track record. Like, oh, well, I could look at my parents and look at how happy they were. So you don't have
no.
anything to compare it to. So maybe it normalizes some of these more, uh, I don't want to say abusive, but more toxic aspects of the relationship.
Yes, definitely. Um, and so my pregnancy wasn't easy. Like I was really tiny. I had on
Wait,
top
hold
of
on.
self-harm.
Are you saying that having two parasites grow inside your body for 9 months isn't easy?
Simplest thing I've ever done. But it's like this is the vessel that they were put into. So it was like eating disorder since like disordered eating, I guess I should say, from like seventh grade to like the day I got pregnant.
Oh,
Started smoking cigarettes in hair school because I wanted to sit out back with the cool girls. I was like, fuck y'all, I'm smoking cigarettes. We're
oh,
starting to smoke.
yeah.
So I was smoking cigarettes. I don't anymore.
Good job.
Um, Couple of cigars a year, but it's like a treat. Um,
That's actually me. Started
yeah,
smoking, and then okay, maybe a couple cigars a year.
because they're fun.
Yeah.
Um, Very like just malnourished, like wasn't taking care of myself, didn't exercise ever, didn't even go for a walk, like nothing. And then like boom, pregnant with twins.
How like big? I don't know. You don't have to say, I guess, but how big were
Oh, I
you?
was like 107 pounds. Like 107, 110 pounds, like tiny, like very underweight.
Jesus.
Yeah, like icky. And I look back at pictures, and even my friends will look back at pictures and they're like, I don't even remember you looking like this. I'm like, yeah, I know, it's weird. And then so I gained like 55 pounds during my pregnancy.
Hmm.
And that was really scary
You
because I
look
never
beautiful
wanted to
now,
be.
by the way, and
Thank
ultra
you.
healthy.
I'm on my fitness journey. Like
Yes, you look
I'm on my,
absolutely fabulous.
thank you. I'm on my macros. I'm on weightlifting. Sometimes I'll literally like work out to like your videos or like other XJW videos, and I'll just be like bench pressing to like Toni Morris, and I'm like, I'm stronger than you. Like,
That's actually
Like
pretty funny.
it helps me get a good pump. I'm like, I'm stronger than all of
Oh man,
you.
I was hoping not to traumatize people to incite any rage, but you know, you do you. However I can help. However I can help. But
Um,
man, so twins. I mean, I'm not like a medical expert or anything, but that sounds like that would be a difficult pregnancy time.
it was a lot.
Yeah.
I started this fun thing where like every time I had to poop, I would just start to black out.
Never
Yeah,
heard of that before. Really?
it was like pressure, like
Oh
I don't know,
man.
like yeah, like my stomach was like way up here, like everything was just it was just big.
Yeah.
But feeling two people roll around inside of you is probably like the coolest thing ever.
I don't know if we can actually keep that on YouTube. Phrasing, Mariah, phrasing.
I'm sorry.
She didn't mean two people. She meant two unborn babies. Oh my
I'm so
god.
sorry.
No, don't be
Oh my
sorry. That
god.
was a
Just the cringe lord.
classic moments. Classic moments.
So yeah, that pregnancy was not easy.
Well, at
And I
least you
actually ended
had a
up
very supportive partner that was there helping you along the way.
no. His family was very supportive though. Like his mom, like she always had my back.
Mm-hmm.
If I was in like false labor, she's like driving my ass to the hospital in the middle of the night, going through red lights. She's like, no one's coming. We're good. Like, so yeah, I had a lot of support from her. My mom, the first thing she said when I called her and said I was having twins was that it wasn't too late to put them up for adoption.
Do you still talk to your mom? Maybe this is off topic, but
Um, we've like loosely been talking, but she cut me and my family off for 3 years because my dad convinced her to.
mm-hmm.
Because he took something I did personally, and instead of talking to me about it, he just said that you have to choose between your daughter or me. So then she chose him. And I do not beg people to be in my life anymore. So if
No,
they want to
thank
walk
you.
out the door, they can.
Can you say it one more time for YouTube?
To not beg people to be in your life anymore. And if they want to walk out the door, they can. Because people that want to be there will find a way to. You don't owe them shit.
Preach.
Especially when you're their child,
Yeah.
their adult child. You're still their child.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, how long did old homeboy stay around? I don't know what to say.
So yeah, I decided to leave when the girls were like 7 months old
Wow.
because I'd had enough. Like I'd tried everything. Because the girls they were 6 weeks early.
Mm-hmm.
They were fine. They were just early. So they spent like 2 weeks in the NICU, and I spent 5 days in the hospital because I'd have a C-section, which is horrible to recover from when you have a horrible, weak little body.
Yeah. God.
Yeah. And my abs also ripped this way, like during pregnancy, because I got so big, and then I was cut this way. So like it was a lot.
Yeah.
I just felt I felt very weak. I was working like 10 hours a week after they came home, like just on the weekends a little bit, and it was like enough to pay my phone bill.
Did you have like any sort of maternity leave of any kind?
Yeah,
Or?
I think I stayed home for like 2 months, and then I went
Okay.
back to work like super part-time.
Okay.
I want to say it was like 8 weeks or something.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't paid or anything, but like I was doing, I'm like, I don't want to like say bad stuff about him because we do have like a way better co-parenting relationship now. But those early years, I was doing everything.
Yeah.
Like double like bottle feeding against a pillow, like the only one waking up at night, couldn't leave the house, but also couldn't have friends over.
I have a lot to
Because
say about that type of guy, but those.
I do too. I'm like, I shouldn't say that publicly. But it was just a lot.
Yeah.
I felt very trapped. I did. I didn't have any money. I had these two babies. They were colicky, which turns out your trauma can transfer to your babies. I have a lot of guilt about that. So they cried all the time. Nothing helped them because they just needed to cry.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it was hard. Like I loved them so much, but like none of it was enjoyable. Like
Yeah.
those first 6 months, like it was all like 24 hours, just like fucking Groundhog's Day. Like
With no like support. Like it's not like you could call your mom to be like, "Hey, I need help," or
they were a little more supportive when they were younger.
okay.
Like when I would work on the weekends, they would take them and stuff, and I'd
Okay.
get like a full night's sleep and stuff. So they were really supportive in that way, but also like very disrespectful.
The support came with caveats.
Yeah. It always does.
Yeah.
So then when I finally was like, I can't do this anymore, like I'm miserable, like you won't go to couples therapy with me, like I'm sleeping on the floor between their cribs at night, like if I'm doing it by myself, I'm doing it by myself.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Did you punch him in the
So
dick when you left? Sorry.
so I left and I moved in with my parents for a month just to like get on my feet.
Okay.
And that's when I found a salon job in the back of Sears Hair Studio.
Yeah, moving up
Back
in the
by the
world.
back by the bathrooms. Like just the tiniest hole in the wall, dirty little salon, but like
Mm-hmm.
it made do. So I finally had a job. I lived with my parents for a month. My dad helped me find an apartment. Excuse me. My dad helped me find an apartment and we found like cribs for super cheap for like $50 each at yard sales. And I got all settled in my apartment and I told him like, hey, like I'll pay you back. Like I can pay you X amount a month, like
Mhm.
whatever. And he's like, oh, don't worry about it. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Because it just means you're going to hold this against me later.
Remember the time when I...
Yeah. And I'm like, no, like it's okay. It's really not a lot of money. Like I can pay you back.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's fine. So we had our little 2-bedroom apartment. I started my job and then it was just like me and my girls and we were just doing the thing. Like they went to Head Start, I went to work, I picked them up. Like we finally had like our own space and like as horrible as that apartment was, like my upstairs neighbors hated me so much because they would wake up like 4 or 5 times a night.
Yeah.
And it was just every time I saw them, they were like, they probably thought I was like the worst mom ever. I'm like, I have 2 babies. Like they
You
cry.
don't know what I've been through.
They don't know people words. Like they have to cry.
Yeah.
Like
There's not a,
and I'm
hi, Mom. I'm a little bit hungry.
yeah.
And my
like, we had
ass is a little bit poopy. If you could take care of the situation, I would be very grateful.
And like I just have so many good memories there with them though, because we were at peace. Like I didn't have to fight with anybody anymore. I didn't have to prove myself to anybody. I didn't have to clean the house a certain way.
Mhm.
I'm a gremlin. Like I'm messy. The mess in our house is my mess, but I'm also like the cleaner. And it's like I can't handle the stress and the pressure of like trying to also be like the perfect girlfriend and like get my body back. I'm like, I
Oh,
gave you
my
2 kids.
God.
Yeah.
This guy's getting
Yeah.
worse in my opinion. I
Yeah.
mean, like the two things that pop in my head are A, wow, you managing to figure all of that out in such a short time. And how old are you? You're like, can you even like legally buy alcohol at this point?
I was 21 when I was pregnant.
Oh,
Like I
wow.
turned 21 when I was pregnant.
So like, yeah. Anyway, you never even like
didn't
went
know
to a
shit.
21st birthday party where you got shit faced
No.
or anything. Like none of that. And this whole experience, it's still almost a relief. Like being in a lousy apartment, you know, trying to figure out how to raise 2 like girls, twins by yourself was still a better feeling than what you got from your family. Like
Yeah.
that is so telling of how it is to be a Jehovah's Witness child. Like I would rather be a single mom raising twins by myself in a rickety old apartment, you know, working full time, than to have to
Yes.
deal with that crap.
Yes. Because I remember when I first moved to my parents, like I had to realize like my family failed. Like I've always wanted a family
Mm-hmm.
and it failed. And I remember I was talking to my dad and I was swearing and I was crying and I was just mad because it's like I didn't get it. Like it didn't work out, you know, and it really sucked. It hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember my mom came out and she just looked mad and she goes, "We do not use that kind of language in this house." Like that's what you've got from everything I've said. Like that's how deep the brainwashing is. It's
Yeah.
like I am falling apart, like pouring my heart out to my dad right now. And you come out and all you've heard is me say the F word. Like that's it. Like none of the context. You don't realize how much pain I'm in. You're just gonna make a stand for God in your household right now. Like
The day that a word becomes more important than a human life is the day you are not qualified to be a parent, in my humble opinion.
I no recently I was just talking to my therapist and shout out to her. I'm totally sending her this. But and I was like, I just want to ask her, like, why did you guys have kids?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why? Because we're gonna be our own people. Like why?
Oopsie.
And
Like,
I would just love to know. Like, you knowingly had like two kids,
yeah.
and it's just like one of them's gone, and the other one can't stand being around you because you guys make me feel like shit.
Yeah, you've pushed the other one away. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
they
despicable,
cut me
honestly.
off,
Like it
and then
is.
yeah,
Call it for what it is. Like it's disgusting. Like that's
it
not
is.
parenting at
And
all.
now that I'm a mom and I have that perspective of it, there is nothing and nobody that would ever take me away from my kids, including them. They could hate me and I'm still gonna bother the fuck out of them and be like, sorry, I'm in your life. Like, I'll respect your boundaries, but like I'm still here. I'm still right here.
And we need to talk about this boyfriend, okay? Now
Yeah,
listen here,
yeah.
sweetheart.
Yes. And like I've grown so much with my kids because I remember being pregnant and I was such a pushover and I still kind of am. Like I had really struggled to stand up for myself, but
Hmm.
I'm like, someone's gonna have to. I remember being pregnant and being like, someone's gonna have to stand up for these kids.
Yeah.
And like I'm gonna have to learn how to like be strong and like advocate for them because I know how crappy it was to like not have my parents advocate for me or stand by my side or take my side ever.
And again, you learned all of this like on your own, organically. Like
I'm
through
trying.
experience. You're like, I'm
Yes.
gonna just try
Yeah.
stumbling my way through life the best I can. But
Yes.
no,
But
it's
it's
not
like
easy.
no, and it's like I grew up with them and I still tell them that. I mean, they're 7 now, so I can
Hmm.
tell them like mommy's not perfect. I'm making mistakes and I'm learning and like I can apologize to my kids
Hmm.
and let them know that I was wrong because I remember thinking like, "Oh, my parents are perfect and when I grow up, I'm going to be perfect like them and not make any mistakes." And that's just how it felt, you know? Yeah, it
It's
just felt like your parents were perfect because
yeah.
it just always felt like it was me and my brother's fault. And now I look and I'm like, it was your guys' fault
Hmm.
and you didn't handle us properly.
Yeah.
Like you didn't take care of us the way that we needed you to. All we needed was like I don't think my parents will ever really know who I am. And that's so weird.
Yeah, I mean, I that's something I constantly think about, and I even thought about it while I was like a witness. I'm like, they just don't know me. Like the only thing they know about me is what I contribute to their faith or their religion or their little
Yes.
lens that they see the world through. Anything else, they just don't care about. It's like, oh, what? You like books?
Yeah.
Like, do you care about what I like about these books? I don't know. He
Ugh.
just sits in his room and he reads all the time. Like, it's
Yes.
weird. So, what was we're getting to XJW relationship corner. What was your experience going forward? Like, did you ever find someone that was suitable for your lifestyle, that was supportive for you, or are you just like
Yes.
carrying on as a single mom? What happened there?
Okay, so I really did not want to date anybody at that point. One, because it's so scary, and the thing of like the people that hurt your
Yeah,
kids usually are people that are close to
yeah.
you. And any man that like asked me on a date was like, you can bring your kids with. And it's like, why? So you can shove us in a van? Like, no. Like, that's where my mind went. I'm like, no, I'm not bringing my kids with.
Walking around like shows up to a date with a katana on your back. Like, what are your intentions?
Yes. I'm like, mm. And then like I dated this one guy for like a month and I'm like, what am I doing? I'm like, I'm done. Like I was just done. I'm like, it's me and my girls.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'd given up the whole like I need a man to fix me. I don't. I'm not broken. I've been through some shit and that's okay because so is everybody else. And like that's just part of your story. And like I'd finally made peace with that. I'm like, I don't want someone to fix me. I'm not broken. I don't need someone to treat me like there's something wrong with me because there isn't.
Nope.
And then I met Kevin.
Hey, Kevin.
And Kevin was the same thing. He's like, I'm not dating anybody. Like my heart's been broken. Like, and literally like our first date, we both were like, I'm not looking for anything. And he's like, either am I. And I was like, cool.
Want to get a beer?
Yeah. And then literally, and then like we played pool and he was just really an easy person to be around. And we were like strictly like platonic friends for like months. And we both knew we had like crushes on each other. And I'd like met his family and like been to his house for Easter and I was like sweaty and I was like,
Wait, I think we're
why am
actually
I
recording
here?
this on Easter Sunday.
Yeah,
I just realized
weird.
that. You said
Yeah,
that.
that's funny. Yeah, that was like the first time I met his family. And he pretty much his mom told me this story where he called and was like, "Hey, I have a friend that's alone for Easter. Like her family doesn't celebrate." And his mom was like, "Okay, we'll just bring them with. Like we have a plate. Like just get your ass out here. Like we're waiting for you."
Like a family.
So in
Imagine the concept.
yes. So in walks me, and at the time I had like 3/4 of my head shaved, and I had like a little blue like pompadour ponytail, and I didn't have any of my tattoos yet, really. So I'm just like,
Do you have a picture
hi.
of this that we can show the great people of YouTube? I can edit it in right
Yes,
now.
I should. I'll find it and send it to
Okay, we'll
you.
edit that in right
Like
here.
insert photo of me here. Like
Oh my God!
and I remember being so nervous because I'm like, oh, they're gonna see my scars because like my like this arm was just like obliterated, like
Yeah.
just of like years of self-harm. And I'm like, oh, they're gonna see my scars and I don't know what to talk about, and they're gonna judge that I'm a single mom, but me and him aren't dating, so why am I here? And I'm just like spiraling the whole time. And they're like the nicest people you've ever met, like could care less. And I asked Kevin later, I was like, did anyone say anything about my scars? Because I was so insecure about it. And he's like, yeah, my dad asked, and I told him like about your upbringing and you know and all that stuff. And I was like, what'd he say? And he said, that must have been really hard. And I was like, what?
Someone's not telling me that I should have been more spiritual and that would have fixed things? Oh my God.
Yes, like just their warmth and just no expectations, where I feel like when you're a witness, there's so many expectations
And that's why you were nervous
constantly.
before you even went there, because you had no
Yes.
concept of a family.
No, I was so nervous. And a couple months later, it was actually um I forget how many years it was, but I think it was like 4 years that my brother had passed away. It was the anniversary of his death. I don't know how to ever word that, but it'd been like 4 years. And I was at work and Kevin came to see me and he's like, hey, we're having like a big fish fry out at the farm if you want to come out after work. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds cool. And so I went out there. And then at the end of the day, he's like, I just really didn't want you to be alone today. And I'm like, okay, so are we dating or what? Because people don't just do that for other people.
Sometimes they do in the real world.
Yeah, but I was like, okay, that's like really nice.
He stole your heart at that moment.
Yeah, and I literally like we had to have that conversation that night where I was like,
Yeah.
I like you so much that I cry on the way home, so we either need to start dating or I just can never talk to you again. Like
Hitting them with the fat ultimatum in the friend zone. Like, okay, this shit needs to happen now, or I'm out.
I'm like, it physically hurts me that I like you
Oh,
so much, but that we're just friends. So then
that's so
literally the next,
amazing.
yeah. So then the next day we decided like, okay, we've both been hurt. We're so scared. He's like, if we date and we break up, I'm gonna lose your girls, like, not just you, like, just a good guy.
He sounds like I
So
just want to kiss him on the mouth. Like, what a sweetheart.
yes, he is. He's so sweet. He's so cute,
Oh,
like little homegrown, like farmer little Kevin. He's just so cute.
Farmer Kevin.
That's his
Pinch him
little
on his little
cheeks.
cheeks. Well, that's good. I mean, I think it's
Yeah.
amazing that, you can go through all of this crazy insanity and you can come out on the other side like a healthy, adjusted person. It's not easy, and we're always
No.
having to like continue to work on ourselves and improve, but just the fact that you're able to like, okay, I don't know what it's like to have a family. I don't know what it's like to have a healthy relationship like with my kids because I didn't have a healthy relationship, and yet you were like with each of the obstacles that you went through, you kind of like made those your Everest and you did that shit.
Yeah, thank you.
Like that's cool. Like be proud of
Thank
yourself.
you.
Like that is like
Yes. It
I don't
does
that's
it seems like 10 years is a long time. Like honestly, this year I feel
mhm.
like I'm okay for
Yeah.
like the first time ever. Like I
Well,
have
no,
a
you've
great
always
mental
been
health.
okay.
Yeah. But like I have like a great mental health team, like, and the thing with Kevin is he met me like at a big mental low, like
Mhm.
not on meds, like kind of just realizing that I have religious trauma
Mhm.
and like how much it actually did affect me and like having that like outward looking in view of my life finally.
Mhm.
But he never treated me like I was broken or something. We just have such a healthy relationship that our relationship wasn't in my way to heal.
Yeah.
He's like, yes, girl, you go heal, you go do what you need to do. Like he's never called me a bad name. Like he doesn't need this rule book of like how to be a godly husband. Like he treats me well because he wants to, not because someone's telling him to. What a concept.
I know, like wow. Hooey. Who'da thought that you should just be nice to people?
Yes, and like he's seen me have like a full-blown anxiety attack and the next day he treats me normal because
Mhm.
it's like we acknowledged it, we got past it. It doesn't change who you are. And like I think it's so important to find a partner that understands your mental health and what you've been through when you have been in any kind of like indoctrination and that like you're just kind of behind in a lot of
Mhm.
ways, like socially and just thinking and
And if
like I
you're
have a lot of like Jessica Simpson like chicken or fish moments and he can just laugh at me instead of like making fun of me.
uh-huh. That's amazing. And I think it's a good reminder for people too that sometimes I know it's like totally cliche, but if you're out there like searching for someone to like fix you or heal you or be the plaster to fix the cracks in your wall, fix your crack. I don't know. We won't go there. Bad turn of expression. But anyway, you know what I mean.
Yes.
I think like you might just find yourself landing in another bad situation because
Oh
that's
yeah.
whereas if you just say I need to focus on doing things that I can for myself and come what may and just allow things to happen naturally and not forced, which is I think it's hard for a lot of people, especially when they leave the organization because they're like
Oh
used to
yeah.
everything being so like set. Like everything has like a playbook that you follow and these are the rules and like these are how things go.
Yes.
Where instead of it just happening organically and just like life. Just you
Yeah.
evolve and you transition and you move and you grow and you leave things behind and you pick it like yeah.
And it's okay to be lonely. Like, yeah, it hurts, but like
Hmm.
learning to have that peace with myself and enjoy just doing things by myself and like just me and my kids and that being enough. Like it gives you this foundation just for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. I never just felt like I could be okay alone. I was always like looking for the next person, you know, or like wanting someone to see value in me and wanting someone to think I was special and wanting someone to just
Mm-hmm.
see me. I was so desperate for that. And then I just got tired. So I was like, fuck it. Like, it's fine. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just so exhausted trying to find something. And it is cliche, but it's like, I don't know. It's good to have that time to yourself.
Absolutely. And I mean, my personal opinion, this isn't law or anything, but if you don't think that you're special or you don't think that you're valuable, it's going to be difficult for other people to see your value, and someone is going to come along that's going to tell you you're valuable, but they're just doing it in a manipulative way.
Yes.
Because you don't have that feeling of like self-actualized self-worth, you might
Yes.
end up kind of vulnerable to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, what about like you were in the hair salon at the back of Sears. How is that sort of transition for you then now?
Now I have my own business. I have my own little salon. Well,
Okay.
it's like a rented chair, but it's in like a open concept salon
Mm-hmm.
with 4 other girls and a body piercer.
Okay.
Um,
Never noticed.
yeah. And so I've had my own business for 4 years, and honestly, it's like my clientele, it's so amazing because it's like when you're your own boss, it's like you pick them and they pick you. Like, I don't
Mm-hmm.
have to take on everybody. Like, if I don't think I'm a good fit for them or what they're wanting, like, it's okay to say no.
Mm-hmm.
And learning how to say no in that way was really hard at first, but it's just, I don't know. Being a hairstylist has just grown me in so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fun because I do a lot of hair colors, so it's like you spend hours with people.
Yeah.
And it's like you get to hear their stories and their perspectives. And I love talking to so many different people and people just liking me for who I am
Mm-hmm.
and like choosing me. And it was so weird because I'm like, why do they keep coming back? Like, I'd be like, wow, I was so awkward and cringe. Like, they're never going to rebook again. And before they leave, they're like, let's set up the next one. I'm like, okay.
That's so good for you though. Like
Yeah.
getting to experience like, oh, people value me for me, and like they value the work that I do, and
Yes.
I'm amazing.
Well, thank you. And it feels good. And going from like aimlessly knocking on people's doors as a child, what am I going to teach someone as a child? An unbaptized child. I was never baptized. I was never good enough.
Mm-hmm.
They always said no. They always rejected me. But like,
Oh,
going
well,
from
now
that,
the XJW community won't take you seriously because you were never. There's some
Never
weird people that
baptized.
are like, well, she was never baptized, so she doesn't know what it's like. It's like, okay.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, I know
there's
what
a
it's like, honey. I was in
there's a
there.
weird subset of people. I don't really quite understand it, but it's
Yeah.
it's safe here, so you're all good.
Good.
And anyone
Okay,
that's typing
so-
that comment right now, we're laughing at you.
So going from like aimlessly like doing the good work to like there's nothing better. Like, I've broken so many people out of their shells, not forcefully, but eventually like blondes and like fashion, like rainbow colors, those are my things.
Okay.
And I remember when I first got my salon, I'm like, oh, I wish I could just do these like all day. And now that's literally like all I do, and it's just magical.
That's wonderful.
But like when your timid little blonde sits down and is like, I think I want like a little piece of pink right here. I'm like, yes, girl, let's go. Like, we're doing this. And just like seeing people like confident with themselves
Yeah.
and like, it's just, I feel like I'm actually doing something that's like worthwhile.
Well, I think too, because it's like someone is doing something to really express themselves, like visually to the entire
Yes.
world, and you're helping them, like
Yes.
go from there, like maybe being timid to more self-expressing. It's almost like a
Yes.
mirror of your past, where your own journey of having to do that for yourself, you know, without anyone's help,
Yes.
and like being the timid person, shy Midwest girl, to being fully
Oh, yeah.
expressive. But I think now is time to cue the montage with some music of some of your work. Can I do like a little slideshow in post?
I
And then
love that.
okay, so we'll start it right. Drum roll, I'll add that in post now.
My heart rages around like an ocean in my can almost feel you walking in the distance, but I know that is not reality. If you are echoing around inside these parallel dimensions all alone, know I'll find you in my dreams.
I think that your work is absolutely captivating and amazing.
Thank you.
How can people find you online if maybe, I don't know if they want to come and actually see you live and in person or just follow you online? What's the best way to do that?
So if you want to follow my business Facebook page, you can, and Wally will put it somewhere. It's Majestic Mains.
Great name, by the way.
Thank you. I did not come up with it at all. Another girl did.
You got to just take the credit. No one will ever know.
And I do have a personal Instagram. It is not professional at all. I'm a little unhinged on there, but if you want to follow me on there, like you can, I'll give that information to Wally too. It's Momo Girl, like grew from Despicable Me, like the girls, because that's what I call my girls.
So I'll put all of that in the description below. And then usually with an interview, I don't know, I would always like to ask people, like, if they, from their journey, because everyone, is different, if you could give any sort of advice to people, because there are going to be people that are still going to meetings, still, going out in service and things like that. Do you have any advice that you'd like to give to people that are still, like, in the organization and also people that have left?
I guess something that would have helped me a lot is if I knew my inner voice a lot sooner, because I thought that kind of fight or flighty feeling of like something's wrong, something's wrong, something's wrong. And I thought the thing that was wrong was me, but it wasn't. It was a lot of the circumstances I was in, like as a witness, like just being a witness. And like if you are a witness, like just please listen to yourself. Like really like listen to yourself and what your own heart is telling you. Because there shouldn't be anything that can influence you to the point that you can't listen to your own heart. And I feel like I lost that for a long time. And like, yeah, it's been like 10 years for me to finally feel okay. But if you look at my timeline of like my brother passing, leaving, graduating cosmetology school, having kids, like it was fast. Like it was a lot of big things really fast. And I feel like my life is really simple and slow now. And it's like, just please give yourself grace. And mental health professionals are there to help you. My therapist researches cults. She has been so supportive and understanding, and she believes me. I always get scared people aren't going to believe me, like what I've been through. Mm-hmm. Like you will find people. Like please just get whatever professional help you feel like you need. And if you're not vibing with someone, move on to the next. Like don't give up on yourself. Mm-hmm. Like there's so much more for you out there than the box that you have been squished in. Whatever box that is, like I promise you there's more for you out there. And you don't owe anyone anything. You don't. You just really don't.
Yeah. And if they don't see your beauty, then they done fucked up.
Yes, like I just don't have the time anymore. Like my circle is small, and I have a best friend from kindergarten still. Mm-hmm. He has seen me through it all. Like I know that I like literally every stage. Mm-hmm. And like he is everything to me, and he was never a witness. Like there's people that will love you like with their whole entire hearts. Like you don't have to fight for love so hard. And I just wish I learned that so much sooner.
I think that is, maybe I'll have to, that might be the title of this whole episode. You don't have to fight for love so hard. I really like that. It's that's a bar.
Thank you. Yeah. You don't like, I just feel almost like panicky. Like it's just taken me so long to love myself. Like I did, like at the beginning, I really genuinely hated myself. And now I can look in the mirror and be like, yes, girl, let's go. Like, it's going to be okay.
I like that so much. Well, thank you so much for joining me and for helping the cause. We need people like to open up with their voices and tell their stories, and you know, it helps the community and everything. So yeah, I hope everyone did enjoy another interview. I know I said I'd be doing more, and yes, I am actually fulfilling that promise that I said. So I actually have a few others that I've recorded but haven't released yet, so I don't even know the whole timeline about these. But I think it would only be appropriate for my guest to do the outro. Do you want to do it?
Okay. Stay safe, be kind, and don't forget to smile. And you better have a good ass day.
That was good.